Channel 4 News is working for you. Live with breaking news.
Apparently something terrible went wrong tonight.
After an apparent explosion. Many powerful people are inside the building tonight. We have a team of reporters out on the scene.
Air 4 is up as well.
5,000 people that were evacuated from.
Pretty chaotic out here.
The FBI is on its way.
Look at that picture from inside.
The explosion was something that I've never felt before.
We have team coverage on this big story.
Channel 4 News, working for you. Live with breaking news.
We are following a major breaking news story right now. An explosion at Opryland. This is a live picture outside the scene. Thousands have been evacuated. It was fairly powerful from the looks of the damage. That's a normal sized door to the right you're looking at right there. All that debris on the floor, a gaping hole left in the ceiling. Good evening. Welcome to Channel 4 News at 10. Investigators are at the hotel right now trying to figure out what went wrong.
This is what we know. At about 8:30 tonight, witnesses say they smelled something, heard a loud noise, and portions of the ceiling appeared to have been collapsed. A spokesman for the hotel tells us it happened in a mechanical room near the Ryman Ballroom. You're looking right now at a schematic of the Opryland Hotel. We have a team of reporters out on the scene covering the story, beginning with Channel 4's Forrest Sanders. Forrest, it's a huge complex out there. Paint us a picture of where this has happened.
Absolutely. This was actually over in the Delta Atrium is where it happened. There have been about 5,000 people that were evacuated from the hotel. The hotel was full tonight. One of those people is Tom Reyes, who's with us right now. He is from Southern California. And Tom, when this initially happened, with you being from Southern California, this felt a bit like an earthquake.
Yes, that's true. It was a loud boom. The whole building shook, and I immediately thought it was an earthquake.
We still don't know what caused that explosion.
Yeah, and we don't know if it's just coincidental that so many law enforcement officials are gathered for this important convention. Certainly makes it more interesting from a standpoint of response, because many powerful people are inside the building tonight.
Good morning. It has been a very scary night for thousands of Opryland Hotel guests and workers after an explosion inside the hotel late last night. This morning, we are just beginning to understand the magnitude of that explosion. We have team coverage on this big story. Ian, I know you've been out there for most of the night, so tell us what's happening right now. What's the latest?
Well, the big headline this morning, Holly, is that everyone is finally allowed to go back inside. They were given the all clear about 3:15 this morning. And we're talking about a lot of people. 5,000 folks were inside the hotel when this explosion happened. Let's bring in Channel 4's Ann McCloy. She has been on the scene for us this morning talking with hotel officials about the specifics here. What are they now saying caused that explosion?
We just spoke with hotel officials, and they say that a gas leak in a heating system caused an explosion in a mechanical room. This was near the Delta Atrium area of the hotel.
Tonight, trail of tornadoes.
Me and the two dogs I have and the trailer started rolling down the hill.
Powerful storms turn lives upside down.
This is the hail core right in through here. This is normally what happens. You get the hail before the tornado comes through, and the hail's coming down pretty heavily. I don't know if you can hear it at home, but we can hear it very well. So the Mullet Green Hills, you're probably hearing some of that hail as well. This is where we're looking at the possibility of that tornado located right in through here. So Percy Warner Park, right in through here. Can we zoom down even a little bit? And hopefully you can hear us here at home. It's getting really loud
to hear
in here
anything
from
else,
the hill.
Lisa.
These are some of the first images that we got in this morning just a few minutes ago from Air 4. This is over Cumberland County, and we heard yesterday about the potential for several homes to be destroyed. These pictures confirm it.
Want to show you what's happening over here. This is Michaela's room. Michaela Vickers, a little girl, like a lot of little girls, who has a bedroom full of a lot of pink. And as you can see, it's quite a mess. And the reason is because when the storm came through, it literally ripped the roof right off of the entire house. And over here, I want you to see this. This is Taylor's room, Michaela's little sister. And over here, you're able to see that the force of the storm was enough to literally take the fiberglass and plaster it all over the wall here. It has certainly been a rough day for a lot of people trying to pick up the pieces.
Jennifer, a lot of people drive their cars here to Title Max for obvious reasons, just not into the Title Max building. You can see the fellows here are hard at work covering up the gaping hole where the car hit. Now, as impressive as this is, consider this: she had to drive across 5 lanes of traffic to get here.
After 2 small children died in a hot car this afternoon, their mother was arrested within the last hour for abuse. Police kept people at distance from the scene today, but Air 4 flew over the maroon-colored car where the children were reportedly discovered. Channel 4's Kimberly Kurth is live on Old Nashville Highway now with the latest for us. Kimberly.
Well, we have breaking details at this hour. We just received a photo of the children's mother, Samantha Harper, being booked into the Smyrna jail charged with child abuse for the deaths of her children.
Tonight, a glimpse at the alarming conditions 2 babies were living in before they died in a hot car yesterday.
Yeah, the Channel 4i team has obtained some exclusive photographs from inside the home that's now been condemned.
The condemned sign on the home of Samantha Harper states no one can live here now. But Harper and her 2 children did live here before 2-year-old Savannah and her 3-year-old brother Daniel died Thursday from the heat while being left in a hot car in the driveway. No one's seen why investigators won't let anyone else in until now. These photos, obtained exclusively by the Channel 4i team, show the deplorable conditions the home is in. While we show you, keep in mind, Savannah and Daniel lived here for an undetermined amount of time. A 2- and 3-year-old living among the trash, among the food, among the filth. One photograph taken by Smyrna's Codes Department shows a soiled diaper just lying on the floor. Another shows a child's desk propped up on trash and food. Parts of the wall collapsed in this room, and from this picture you can see children's toys lying near pieces of the wall. Photos of the kitchen are difficult to see, food and dishes piled out of the sink. In this Facebook post, Harper even wrote how she didn't like to clean. I need a dishwasher, hate doing dishes.
The only downside she had was she didn't keep the house clean. She let the kids eat all over the place. She didn't care. She played with the kids.
Well, we have uncovered that the children's mother, Samantha Harper, was investigated by the Department of Children and Services before, and according to this police report, her toddlers were in danger back in September, and DCS knew about it.
They were so close to me that I could, I could have saved them. I tried to save them at one time.
Meredith Vaughn says she did everything she could to protect 2-year-old Savannah and her 3-year-old brother Daniel. She called police last September when she saw they were in trouble at the home where they used to live in Laverne.
The little kids was running down the street. She was in the trailer sound asleep. I beat on the door for 15 minutes. And finally, I pushed the door open and the house was nasty. It was terrible.
We asked DCS if they took any action after they were alerted back in September. They would only say they investigated the Laverne incident, but will not release any other details about their findings.
Tonight, we have learned where that fire started in the building and how many workers were inside at the time. Channel 4's Jonathan Martin is live at the scene. Jonathan?
Hey, Demetria, yeah, we just learned there were about 8 or 9 workers inside the building when the fire started. Thank goodness no one was hurt.
They are the most vulnerable and desperate of patients.
And a Channel 4i team investigation is about to reveal what happened to them inside the walls of a state mental institution.
Well, this number may sum it up. Our investigation found in the past 3 years, 65 disciplinary actions have been taken. Employees either fired, suspended, or disciplined for abuse, neglect, or mistreatment of patients or failing to manage patients at risk. What we've uncovered are cases of patients being mistreated, touched sexually, and one patient left alone long enough to take his own life. Cody's autopsy, which we obtained through public records requests, explains his terrible death. Cause of death, drowning. Manner of death, suicide. The autopsy shows Cody secured his head inside an overflowing toilet and drowned himself. A bedsheet secured the bathroom door shut. Those terrible details are important to know, Cody's family says, because it shows Cody was unmonitored long enough to plan and pull off an elaborate death. And internal disciplinary records obtained by the Channel 4i team raise serious questions of how other patients were treated. One report states a nurse straddled a male patient and took his hands and rubbed them on her chest, thighs, and back. Then there's this nurse, suspended for pulling on a female patient's arms to get her out of bed, and then dumping a trash can of water on the patient's head. The report reads the nurse's actions had the potential to re-traumatize the patient with a history of physical and sexual abuse. Miss Gilligan? after the CEO of the state institution, Candace Gilligan, refused our repeated requests for an on-camera interview. We went to the institute to get answers. I wanted to speak to you about the cases of the patients here. Ma'am, please let me talk to you about what happened.
Talk to you, sorry.
Why won't you talk to me about what happened to the patients here? We've been investigating cases of patient neglect there, including the recent death of a patient. And now, former employees are coming forward to say there's a reason some patients haven't been checked on, because the people assigned to watch them were asleep.
Oh, wow, that's terrible.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure I want to see this.
Steve Burke is among the taxpayers in Davidson County who we showed these pictures to, and their reactions were all the same.
You got to be kidding me.
Photographs of employees paid by the state, not just nodding off, but sleeping. I mean, really sleeping.
And this one right here looked like he is really enjoying his nap at work. That's terrible.
And they're sleeping inside the Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institution, assigned to watch over, care for, and guard some of the most vulnerable patients in the state's care.
There's breaking news tonight on the state mental hospital at the center of a series of Channel 4 I-Team investigations. The state announced just a few minutes ago that the CEO of Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institute, Candace Gilligan, resigned.
But if you look behind me, you will see where this ship just plowed into the bridge, taking a huge chunk of the road and bridge with it.
Nearly a dozen sick, 2 of them dead. What happened to patients at a Nashville pain clinic? The urgent warning from state health officials to stop this problem before it gets worse. Well, a meningitis scare has a Nashville pain clinic closed. The Centers for Disease Control want to know what made 11 people sick and killed 2 of them. They also want to know whether it might be connected to another case here in the state. And it might be just the start of a major public health crisis. Channel 4's Josh Devine working for you with what we need to know tonight.
Well, Jennifer, first off, this type of meningitis is not contagious. It cannot be caught from person-to-person contact, but the state still seemed insistent on going public with the problem today.
The investigation involves 12 confirmed cases of meningitis. 6 of these have also experienced deep brain stroke. 11 are patients who were treated at an outpatient surgical facility in Nashville.
There are 4 times as many people sick tonight with meningitis than when the outbreak first began. Tom has the very latest now on this changing situation.
Well, Demetria, as you know, on Monday, when we first heard of this fungal meningitis outbreak, officials knew of 12 cases, all right here in Tennessee, and 2 deaths. This evening, there are at least 7 states affected. Michigan joined that list today, as you can see right there in red on the map at the top there. At least 47 people have been affected. 5 of them have actually died. We now believe we can put names and faces to all 3 of the Tennesseans who lost their lives. Kentucky Circuit Court Judge Eddie Lovelace's wife told the Tennessean he was the first person known to have died of this rare condition on September 17th. Thomas Rabinski of Smyrna died on September 29th, and Brentwood's Diana Reed died on Wednesday.
We love you.
In fact, that's how they met, is over a record collection.
It may have been a mutual love of music that brought Wayne and Diana Reed together.
She made him laugh. He was her strength.
But it was faith that kept them there.
You can't say one of them without the other. They were a team of one. You say Wayne, you say Diana.
How you doing, sir? I'm fine.
Wayne battles ALS and has for about 25 years. Most of his marriage. It complicated life only when they let it. This summer, back pain, partly from years of lifting her husband, led Diana to St. Thomas Outpatient Neurosurgery Center. Epidural injections promised relief, but fungal meningitis claimed her life.
No, I'm not angry.
We still have questions that we want answered.
We've been digging into the source of the contaminated drug involved.
That's right. Again, just moments ago, the New England Compounding Center announced it is suspending operations. Here is the Channel 4 I-Team's Kimberly Kurth with what she's learned. Kimberly?
Well, in their statement released a short while ago, the company said, quote, "We have voluntarily suspended operations while we assist authorities in their investigation." This comes as the Channel 4 I-Team has uncovered that the FDA had warned this company about their drugs in the past.
32 innocent Americans have died during this outbreak, and the public deserves to know what went wrong.
Disgust and disappointment. The fungal meningitis outbreak brought out big emotion in the nation's capital as lawmakers grilled the man whose company caused the deadly fungal meningitis outbreak. Good afternoon and welcome to Channel 4 News at 4.
Well, lawmakers talked about that outbreak. They're not just looking for someone to blame here. They're trying to figure out how to better regulate the aspect of this business so that it doesn't happen again.
This place was wall-to-wall people just about an hour ago as this city showed up in major form to welcome back its Little League champions. I want to show you the video that we shot. And remember, this was just about an hour ago. A huge crowd on hand here. High fives and cheers from friends, family, and fans as the team walked into "We Are the Champions" through a human tunnel of sorts. A lot of homemade signs and banners in this crowd. It's important to note this team has not been home in about a month's time. They've been on the road playing an awful lot of baseball. Now, once on stage, the 13 players and 3 coaches received honors from Congressman Jim Cooper and a lot of local leaders. The fans we talked with did not seem all too disappointed that the team lost to Japan yesterday. Instead, the focus was squarely on the accomplishments of becoming U.S. champions.
Tonight, for the first time ever, Jeffrey Womack is telling his story. By some accounts, he was the last person to speak to Marcia Trimble before the 9-year-old was molested and murdered. The last maybe to see her, but the first person police suspected and continued to zero in on for years. The very first report in the Trimble police file is handwritten on tattered notebook paper in mismatched ink. It mentions Marcia by name twice. There are 8 references to Jeffrey Womack.
And they start asking questions about, what did you do this afternoon? I mean, all I tried to start telling was, she came to my house this afternoon at around 4:30 or whatever. Oh, well, what'd you do before that? I was like, you know, that's when it all started getting confusing. Well, I had to empty my pockets out. And I don't remember. I know I had a condom in my pocket. And I had a $5 bill. And I had a penny wrapper with some pennies in it.
We know that she had a $5 bill. She had some penny wrappers. They were actually quarter wrappers with pennies in them. Later, what was missing, I mean, a $5 bill, those penny wrappers, Jeffrey had that night in his pocket.
4.5 years after the murder of Marcia Trimble, hours after his 20th birthday, Jeffrey Womack was arrested for murder.
They arrested me that night. Yeah, she turned around in the car and told me, Jeffrey, I just know you're sick, you just need help. Saying, I know you grabbed Marcia by the throat and you just couldn't help but just keep till you choked her to death. So that was going on while Arlene was turning around, looking at me in the back seat, telling me how sick I was, and he was doing this up here like this.
Maybe I did say you're sick. I don't know.
I was profiled before profiling was cool.
The thing is, every community has a story.
It is pretty well wide known all the way around now.
That is a story about our culture, I guess.
Every community you go to throughout America has a story.
It was made fun of around here.
I think something happened.
People were embarrassed about it. I've always thought something happened down there, but because there was just too much talk about it for it to have been nothing.
A spaceship landing, Martians, a farmhouse invasion, a family terrified, and a panicked escape. No, it's not a midnight science fiction drive-in double feature. There's a church sign just down the road from Kelly, Kentucky, reading, "Visitors, welcome." As the town gears up for the Little Green Men Days Festival, some believe more than 50 years ago, visitors indeed came to Kelly.
On August 21st, 1955, at the Sutton family farm, one of the gentlemen had went out to get a cool drink of water from the well, and he saw some lights go through the sky and something land in a field back behind the house.
And sure enough, there stood this creature, they called it.
There was these little invaders, very small individuals.
They were up at the windows.
These little silver aliens was on their roof, and when they went out, they was pulling their hair.
They were in the trees. The family decided to protect their farmhouse, so they brought out the guns.
Didn't do any good, so they went to Hopkinsville and got the police. Of course, they didn't find a spaceship and they didn't find any
green men. And when my mother turned off the light at night, I would grab my pillow and my blanket and I crawled under the bed. Heard any noise or anything, you know, you thought it's a spaceship.
It's a case that's been repeatedly filmed, studied, and documented. But with the Little Green Men Days Festival, Kelly is telling the story in a whole new way.